Ryzeal is coming to Master Duel. Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I'm going to showcase real quick what this deck does. This is not an optimal deck, I just wanted to showcase real quick how this deck functions. And yes, you can very easily play it with any other engine here. Mostly we're looking at these 12 cards here as the engine, or the bare minimum of the engine there. Even Star Ryzeal is technically optional, but for the most part, you want to play a certain amount of Ryzeal names. This is the optimal amount. You could also play the Tachyon cards to search additional of the Ryzeals. There you go. That being said, if you don't know how Ryzeals work, they're basically rank 4 spam. Think of them like Sprite and how Sprite works, where if you get a level 2 onto the field, you can get the others onto the field. It's similar in nature, but even better. Because a lot of them also have additional ways to get additional guys onto the field. So you don't have to start with a level 2 or a level 4 in this case, in order to start your plays. On top of that, they're also just all incredibly powerful effects in general. They all have multiple effects to summon guys, so you just flood the field with guys over the course of a turn. So let's quickly hop into the duels and show you how, or the replay, and show you how this deck functions. Okay, this is a fairly good hand to showcase what this deck is aiming to do. First of all, I'm going to start off here with the Bonfire, which is going to search out the ice, which is why this deck is as good as it is, because you could also play the Bonfire, which is kind of silly, but notably, this includes an extender, which is important for the line that I'm going to show you. So, we're going to start off here with Ice. Ice effect is going to then special summon out the Sword, and Sword effect is then going to search out. Generally, we would search out X. We already have X in hand, so instead, I'm going to search out an additional copy of Ice, or I could search out Sword. One of the two, right? Or, sorry, not Sword. Or Star. One of the two. Regardless. I'm going to search out the Ice here because I think it's a little bit better, and not everyone is going to be playing Star. That being said, from here, we now get to pivot into the Fiendsmith line. Yes, I already have Fiendsmith in hand. I could have just done that. I'm just going to show you what this deck does without the Fiendsmith. So, now we get to activate this, and we get to use its effect in order to go into the Lacrima. Also, instead of playing Exciton, you could also play Moon. Moon does the same thing here in this instance, so do keep that in mind. You don't have to play Exciton. Exciton is a little bit better, but overall, you can more or less do the same thing. So, now we're going to shuffle back this guy, and we're going to summon out the Engraver here. Now, we have two options from this point as well. We could go into Necroequip off of the equip spell here. So you equip here, you go into the Necroequip, and then you just immediately go into the DD Wave King, which notably allows you to keep the Lacrima and the Requiem in grave, which is pretty solid for follow-up, and it doesn't require you to go into Lacrima and Desiree and all of that stuff. However, you could also go into the Lacrima Desiree line, which is also fairly decent. Depends on what your hand looks like, depends on what you are worried about, but I'm going to do this play because I do think it is a little bit better, just due to the fact that it keeps the Lacrima in grave as follow-up, because we're also playing Paradise. If you're not playing Paradise, this line's not as good, but it's still fairly decent. So we're going to go for the DD Wave King Caesar here, and now from here, we can go and activate our X, which locks us into rank 4. I am going to send the Eclipse Twins here, acting as if we have it. If we don't, that's fine. We don't necessarily need it. Here, I'm going to also use this to pitch any card in hand. I'd happen to have an Engraver. I'm going to pitch the Engraver in hand. So out comes Ice Ryzeal as well. Now, again, we are locked into rank 4s, but that's okay because we can go into Duo Drive. We can activate the effect of the Duo Drive at this point and attach an additional guy. Doesn't matter what we attach here. And then detach 2, and we're going to specifically detach from our Duo Drive here. So we're going to detach the 2 Ice because we know that those are attached to the Duo Drive. And we're going to grab up Node and Cross. Now, if you were confused there, what ended up happening is Duo Drive can detach not just from Duo Drive, but also from other monsters as well. So I could have detached the 2 materials attached to Wave King Caesar. Awesome. We're immediately going to slap down the Cross because now we have a monster negate due to the fact that we have the extra materials. Fantastic. We're then going to special summon Node, and then Node effect is going to activate, and we're going to send the Duo Drive in order to special summon a guy. Doesn't really matter which one, we're just going to summon a rank, or a level 4, which then allows us to then make the Detonator. and we can use Detonator here, which will then attach another guy. Specifically in this case, we are going to attach the Eclipse Twins, because Eclipse Twins is very powerful. Now, on top of this, we can activate the effect of our Cross, which can put back the Duo Drive as well as additional guys. I'm going to put back the X here, because X happens to be one of the best starters for the deck as well. So we're going to do that, and then we happen to draw into our Tract, which is very funny, but not really all that useful here, right? So that could have been another hand trap, that could have been a myriad of other options as well. So this doesn't look like a lot, but reminder, this was off of pretty much just any 2 cards. And we did the entire Fiendsmith line and the entire Ryzeal line, right? On top of that, we still have the hand traps and stuff, and we still also have the Lacrima and the Requiem engrave for a follow-up play with the Fiendsmith half. Very solid, right? Let's real quick count. We have up to 3 pops, we have 2 special summon negates, and we have a monster negate as well, which is pretty solid. And then the hand traps in hand and the Lacrima in grave. All of this is fairly solid. That isn't everything, though. Alright, here is another deck list that showcases more of the Ryzeal style, with most focus on the rank 4 monsters, right? It's mostly rank 4s. You lock yourself into rank 4s with like 7th Ascension and 7th Tachyon and all of that jazz. And notably, what this deck does is that if you wanted to, instead of playing this, you could play some other engine, right? That is like the big thing about it. We still have access to like several non-engine spots, right? Here we have 19. But yeah, just an incredible amount of engine here. We're also even playing like Plasma Hole and Plug-in and stuff like that. So yeah, let me just showcase what this deck would do. All right, here's what 7th Tachyon does for the deck. So we're gonna go 7th Ascension into the 7th Tachyon, which then gets us into our we reveal 104 Masquerade, which allows us to grab up specifically Ice, Star, or X, most notably where you can grab Ice and X, which is nice. And we get to shuffle a card back, which we're going to shuffle back that card that is useless here. Now, from here, we can do the same combo that you saw previously. So we're going to go Ice Ryzeal into the Sword into X. And then from here, we can go Sword into, again, X. Here, I'm going to grab Star, since we already have this. And we're going to summon out the X, specifically sending Detonator. Now, keep in mind, just keep in mind, why we sent the Detonator here is going to be revealed in a second. So, now we get to go into Duo Drive. So out comes the Duo Drive, and Duo Drive is going to activate its effect, attaching specifically a Ryzeal, which is why we send Detonator to the graveyard. Now, why is this important? Because we're currently on 4 summons. So now we can detach 2 guys in order to grab up specifically the Cross and any other guy. I'm going to grab Ice here, because we haven't used the Ice summon effect. So now we can immediately slap down the Cross, which gives us a monster negation. And from here, we can go into anything. We can summon out a whole bunch of guys, as long as we don't summon the Star here until we have another material on field. We can basically go from here and get everything that we need. We're also going to do this. We're going to pitch, I guess we'll pitch Star here. Out comes the guy. Yep. And then we get to go into our Detonator using these 2. Out comes the Detonator. We're going to activate the effect of the Detonator, and we're going to attach, I don't know, Star, doesn't really matter. And now we can use this guy's effect to send this guy to the graveyard to special summon another level 4 monster, so that with this level 4 monster, we can go into whatever our heart desires. I'm going to go into the Gallant Granite because it's funny, and from here, we can search out a Nibiru as well. So we're going to detach another material here, and then we can add to our hand the Rock, which happens to be Nibiru, which is very funny. And then we can go and shuffle a few cards back as well. We're going to specifically shuffle back the 2 from the extra deck so that we draw into something more useful. And now we can set 2 and pass the turn. Now, this Gallant Granite could have been anything there, which is what makes it so powerful. All in all, that's how this deck functions. Pretty simple. So, all in all, what makes Ryzeal as powerful as it is the fact that it has options, a lot of them. You're never going to know exactly what Ryzeal is going to do, and the fact that it can do a lot of different things makes it as powerful as it is. On top of that, being able to pair it with a million hand traps, or if you wanted to, another rank 4 or style engine or something else of that nature, right? Something like Fiendsmith, something like Onomat, or something like, well, Onomat not right now, but, you know, Mitsurugi in the future. You could even pair this with something like Voiceless Voice that doesn't use its extra deck a whole lot, and then you could use the entire Ryzeal engine as, like, ways to bait out hand traps. There's a bunch of different things that you could potentially do. Obviously, right now, in the TCG, what it's doing is playing it with Mitsurugi, which plays very well with it, because Mitsurugi doesn't need the extra deck, and Ryzeal can just do the entire line and see the Mitsurugi cards, and that's pretty solid. So, all in all, very solid deck. There you go. Stay frosty. Bye-bye.